Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will have an opening statement because I think this merits a lot of discussion and scrutiny by this committee. And I mean, there are a few examples out there. The Enbridge pipeline, which leaked for quite a period of time, 1 million gallons of tar sands, mostly unrecoverable in the river, because simple leak detection was not effective. The gas explosion in San Bruno, California, killed 8 people, problems with the pipe and the pipeline itself. And as someone mentioned, PHMSA, a pretty much dysfunctional agency, has yet to implement rules from our 2011 bill. So before we start messing around with the things that are pending, we ought to get them to produce and then review what their products are. And then finally, one that is of extraordinary concern to me, which is lithium batteries on airplanes. We just had another lithium battery incident. Luckily, it was not in the hold of an airplane. Otherwise, we would have seen dead people. It was Sunday night, a Union Pacific train. The car was removed from the train, would start smoking later. There was an explosion inside, and it contained cargo of small lithium batteries. If that happened in the hull of an airplane, it would come down and people would die. We had the example of the flight near Dubai, which created a giant crater, 27 minutes, 45 seconds. That's how much time between when the fire alarm went off on the cargo plane, UPS Flight 6, until the plane cratered into the ground. I think there's a visual of that. The manifest said there were no hazardous materials on board. In fact, there were 3 shipments of lithium batteries that had quite a variety of cells inside. 2 minutes after the flight fire warning, the flight leveled off. It already started to burn through the flight controls. 4 minutes, the cockpit was full of smoke. 5 minutes, the smoke was so thick the crew had a hard time seeing their instruments. 9 minutes, the captain was unconscious or dead. First officer couldn't see the controls inches in front of him. And 28 minutes later, the plane cratered into the ground with the pilots deceased. Luckily, they did not crash into a large inhabited area. The ICAO, which is a pretty, shall we say, the International Civil Aviation Authority, not known for taking tough stands on things. Finally, after the manufacturers of Airbus and Boeing came out and said there's no way to repress these fires on board an airplane, they adopted some very minimal standards regarding the charging of the batteries and also that they should not be on passenger aircraft. The industry says that's a really bad idea. We should put them on passenger aircraft, and we shouldn't restrict them on airplanes. It only takes one half-charged lithium battery the size of a water bottle in a pack of 8 to take down an airplane. So the fact that the FAA was working on adopting the very minimalist ICAO standards, and that has been stayed by the Trump administration, which said it would not stay regulations which are critical to health and safety. I don't know what's critical to health and safety if airliners falling out of the sky isn't critical both to the people on board and the people on the ground underneath. I think that certainly there are times when regulation becomes absurd and overregulated, but other times regulation is absolutely essential in the public interest. And now the passenger airlines in the United States have said voluntarily they won't carry the lithium batteries, but given the insufficient labeling requirements, we're not sure whether they are or are not in the combi carriers. And secondly, it's voluntary. So maybe one of the low-budget airlines will say, hey, no one else is carrying them. The industry will pay us a premium to move these things around. We'll put them on board. Nothing to worry about. Let's not be cavalier about this and aggrandize, where the places where we've overregulated with places where we need to regulate in the critical national safety and health interests of the people of the United States of America. With that, I look forward to the hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. didn't she put that thing out?